A hiking trail feels like a promise. Someone cleared it, someone marked it, someone hammered a wooden sign into the ground and gave it a name, and that name makes it feel less like wilderness and more like a hallway, a route through the wild that the wild has agreed to leave alone. You step onto it with headphones in. You let the kids run ahead. You round the blind corner without slowing down, because the trail is a place people go, and places people go are safe. But the animals never signed that agreement. The trail is just a line we drew, and on the 12 trails you are about to see, the thing that lives beside that line does not recognize it at all. Most lists of dangerous trails rank the terrain, the cliff you can fall off, the river you can drown in, the heat, the altitude, the exposure. Those things kill more hikers than any animal ever will, and every one of them at least gives you a warning, a drop you can see, a current you can hear, a forecast you can read. This list is about the danger that gives you none of that. We are ranking 12 American trails by a single narrow measure. How small the gap is between the moment you feel completely safe and the moment something is already on you. How little warning the animal gives. And because a scare is not the same as a death, we are weighting that by what actually happened on these trails. The real maulings, the real gorings, the real people who did not walk back to the trailhead. The countdown climbs from the animals that at least let you see them coming, up to the one where the gap between safe and attacked is almost nothing at all. By the time we reach number 1, the word trail stops sounding like a promise. If this is the kind of thing you think about on the trail, go ahead and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps the channel. And while you are here, tell me one thing. Where in the world are you watching from, and what's the wildest animal you've ever seen on a hike? Drop it in the comments, I read them. Now let's start the countdown. Number 12. South St. Vrain Trail, Colorado. The moose. We start with an animal most people file under harmless herbivore, and that filing is exactly the danger. On Colorado's South St. Vrain Trail, in the pine country above Boulder, the threat is a moose, and moose do not behave like the deer people expect. Why is a plant eater on a list about attacks? Because a bull moose can weigh 1,000 pounds, run 35 miles an hour, and, having almost no natural predators, it feels very little fear of you. Colorado Parks and Wildlife has recorded 33 moose attacks in the state since 2017. In 2023, a 62-year-old hiker on the South St. Vrain rounded a stand of lodgepole pine, surprised a cow moose and had her back broken in 3 places, plus a rib and her sternum. The reason it sits at number 12 and not higher is that a moose is defending, not hunting, and it rarely kills. But it earns its place because the warning it gives is a single second. The animal you dismissed, coming through the trees at a dead run. Number 11. Custer State Park, South Dakota. The bison. Climb one rung and the misjudgment gets heavier, literally. The trails threading Custer State Park in South Dakota run straight through open bison country, and the bison is the most underestimated animal in North America. They look slow, they look bored, they graze beside the path like livestock, and that is the trap. A bull bison stands 6 feet at the shoulder, weighs up to 2,000 pounds, and can run 3 times faster than you. In Yellowstone, bison injure more people than any other animal, more than the bears, more than everything. And in May of 2026, a 70-year-old woman hiking behind a group of bulls at Custer was gored to death. It was South Dakota's first bison fatality in over 2 decades. Her dog was killed too. It ranks at number 11 because you usually do see the bison. The warning is there if you respect the distance. The problem is how fast calm becomes goring. 1 head toss, 1 instant, and 2,000 pounds is already moving. Number 10, the Pacific Crest Trail and the Desert Southwest, the rattlesnake. At number 10, we reach the most literal without warning attack on this entire list. Across the desert stretches of the Pacific Crest Trail and the trails of Arizona and Southern California, the danger is the rattlesnake, and the rattle is the part that fools you. Everyone knows the sound, but the rattle is a courtesy. The snake extends only when it sees you first. The bites that land are the ones where it did not, where a coiled snake sits motionless in the shade beside the trail and your foot comes down 18 inches away. A rattlesnake can strike 2/3 of its own body length, faster than you can flinch. Roughly 7,000 to 8,000 people are bitten in the United States every year, and 2026 has been a brutal season. California, which usually sees 0 or 1 snakebite death a year, recorded 3, including a hiker in his 40s. It sits at number 10 because anti-venom now saves nearly everyone who reaches a hospital. But the strike itself? That comes from a patch of ground you already decided was empty. Number 9. Clahane Ridge, Olympic National Park, Washington. The mountain goat. Number 9 is the one nobody sees coming, not because the animal hides, but because your brain refuses to file it as a predator at all. On the switchback trail up to Clahane Ridge in Olympic National Park, the killer was a mountain goat. Read that again, because it sounds absurd until you know the details. In October of 2010, a 63-year-old hiker named Bob Boardman stopped for lunch on the ridge when an aggressive billy goat approached. He told his companions to move down the trail, and he tried to shoo it off. The goat, a 370-pound animal the park had already flagged for stalking hikers, gored him in the thigh, severed his femoral artery, and then stood over him and would not let anyone near as he bled to death. It is believed to be the first fatal mountain goat attack ever recorded. It lands at number 9 because it is so rare, but it belongs on this list because it detonates the whole idea that you can look at an animal and know whether it is dangerous. Number 8. Little Big Econ State Forest, Florida. The alligator. At number 8, the warning disappears beneath the surface. The trails of Florida's Little Big Econ State Forest follow the slow, tea-dark water of the Econlockhatchee River, and that water is the ambush. An alligator gives you nothing. No sound, no movement, no wake. It holds at the waterline, invisible in the tannin-stained shallows, and waits with a patience nothing warm-blooded can match. In June of 2026, a 31-year-old hiker named Brittany Clark waded in to cool off in 3 feet of water on a hot afternoon. A 12-foot alligator took her in an instant and went into a death roll. Her boyfriend could not pull her free. She lost both arms and died before she reached the hospital. Florida has logged 31 fatal alligator attacks since 1948, rare across millions of encounters, which is why it sits at number 8. But the manner of it is what earns the rank. There was no warning because there is never a warning. The surface of that water looked exactly as safe the second before as the second after.
Before we go on, I made something special for you. A guide for people like us, who'd rather know what's out there than get caught off guard. It's the Wild States Field Kit. The guides that show you which dangerous animals are moving in near you, exactly what to do when you meet one, and how to keep them off your property. Because these animals are spreading faster than most people realize. And the time to learn this is before you're standing face to face with one. Don't wait until it's in your backyard. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link below. Go ahead, I'll wait right here.
Number 7, Apshawa Preserve, New Jersey, the black bear. Now the danger stops reacting and starts pursuing. Number 7 is a suburban preserve barely an hour from New York City, Apshawa Preserve in West Milford, New Jersey, and the animal is a black bear that did the thing black bears are supposed to be too timid to do. In September of 2014, a 22-year-old Rutgers student named Darsh Patel was hiking with 4 friends. Another pair of hikers had already warned them a bear was following people. The group kept going, encountered the bear, and it began to follow them too. They ran, they scattered, and the bear singled out the one who fell behind. This was not a defensive SWAT. The necropsy found human remains in the bear's stomach, a predatory attack from an animal that was neither sick nor starving. It was New Jersey's first fatal bear attack since 1852. It ranks at number 7 because the warning was actually there, another hiker handed it to them, and the human instinct to run is precisely what a following predator is waiting for. We are past the halfway point, and the trails only get quieter from here. If you're still with me, hit subscribe because the top 5 are the ones where hikers never got the chance to run. Now, number 6. Number 6. Little River Trail, Great Smoky Mountains. The Black Bear. Number 6 is on the most visited national park trail in America, and it broke a record no one wanted broken. On the Little River Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains in May of 2000, a 50-year-old schoolteacher named Glenda Bradley became the first person ever killed by a black bear in any United States national park. She was an experienced hiker. She had stepped away from her fishing companion for a short solo walk on a trail she knew well. When he came back, he found her backpack on the ground and 2 bears, a sow and a yearling, over her body. Investigators later determined the bears were underweight and the attack was predatory. They were attempting to cache her body when a passing Boy Scout troop stumbled onto the scene. Here is the detail that puts it at number 6. There were more than a dozen hikers within yelling distance. It did not matter. The bears were fast and they were committed, and a crowd nearby is not the warning you think it is. Number 5. Chugach State Park, Anchorage, Alaska. The brown bear. At number 5, the warning is stolen by the landscape itself. Chugach State Park wraps around Anchorage, 300 miles of trail, most of it inside a city of nearly 300,000 people that also holds an estimated 65 brown bears. And in summer, those trails become an ambush corridor. The mechanism is simple and horrifying. Salmon run up the streams. Bears crowd the streams to feed. And the rushing water masks the sound of an approaching hiker completely. The bear does not hear you coming, and you do not hear it. In a single week in July of 2025, 2 hikers were mauled on popular Anchorage trails. One woman was dragged off the Dome Trail. Days later, a man's dog rounded a bend and ran straight into a sow with a cub near Barbara Falls. It sits at number 5 because these bears are not hunting, they are surprised. But a surprised brown bear at 10 feet is the most dangerous animal in North America, and the river took away the one thing that keeps you alive out there, the sound of it before you see it. Number 4. Lost Mine Trail, Big Bend, Texas. The Mountain Lion. Number 4 is where the animal stops surprising you and starts choosing you. The Lost Mine Trail winds through the Chisos Mountains of Big Bend National Park, home to only about 24 mountain lions, and yet this trail has one of the most documented histories of lions following hikers anywhere in the country. The park's own records read like a horror script. Lion after lion trailing people down the switchbacks, holding its ground when shouted at, pacing a hiker for 100 yards from the brush. In 1984, an 8-year-old boy was mauled here, the first attack in the park's 40-year history. Then, in a single year, 2012, the park logged 2 more. The reason it ranks this high is the nature of the warning, which is no warning at all. It is worse. A stalking cat gives you the feeling of being watched and nothing to point it at. By the time you understand why the back of your neck went cold, the lion has already decided. Number 4 goes to the predator that studies you first. Number 3, Whiting Ranch, California, the mountain lion. Number 3 is the same animal, one rung more terrifying on a trail most people considered tame. Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park sits in the suburbs of Orange County, California, a popular, sunny family park, and in January of 2004, it produced the county's first fatal mountain lion attack. A cyclist named Mark Reynolds stopped to fix a chain. The lion took him from behind, killed him, and then did what lions do with prey they intend to return to. It dragged his body into the brush and partially buried it with dirt and leaves. Hours later, on the same trail, the lion attacked a woman named Ann Yell, clamping onto her head and dragging her downhill. She survived only because her riding partner grabbed her legs and other hikers pelted the cat with rocks until it let go. It ranks at number 3 because of that buried body, the proof that the animal was not passing through, but hunting, and had cached a human being like a deer. On this trail, the warning was a man who simply never came back. Number 2, Mary Mountain Trail, Yellowstone, Wyoming. The Grizzly. At number 2, we reach the Grizzly and a stretch of Yellowstone where the warning ran out for 2 different hikers in the same summer. The Mary Mountain Trail cuts across Hayden Valley, prime grizzly ground in an ecosystem holding more than 1,000 of them. In August of 2015, a 63-year-old man was killed by a grizzly in the lake area. Weeks later, on August 26th, a second lone day hiker was killed on the Mary Mountain Trail, less than 8 miles from the first. DNA tied the same female bear to both scenes. They were the park's first bear fatalities in 25 years, and they came in a pair in the same valley within a single month. It sits at number 2 because the grizzly's attack is a surprise encounter almost every time. A bear that did not want to meet you, met you anyway at a distance too short to fix. And running, the exact thing your body screams to do, is the one action that turns a startled bear into a pursuing one. Number 1. Mount Brown and the Sperry Trails, Glacier National Park, Montana. The Grizzly. And so we arrive at number 1, Glacier National Park, Montana, where the terrain and the animal combine to erase your warning more completely than anywhere else in America. Since 1910, bears here have killed 11 people. It holds one of the highest grizzly densities on the continent. But density is not why it takes the top spot. It is the ground. Glacier's trails run through dense brush, blind corners, and rushing creeks that swallow every sound on terrain that gives a hiker and a bear almost no chance to sense each other until they are a few feet apart. In May of 2026, a 33-year-old hiker named Anthony Pollio was killed near the Mount Brown Lookout, the park's first bear fatality since 1998. Weeks later, on the Grinnell Glacier Trail, a grizzly came over a snowfield where the noise of the water hid its approach and broke a hiker's arm before anyone understood what was happening. Number 1 belongs to Glacier because it is the purest version of this entire list. The deadliest animal in the country that hides it best, on a trail where the gap between safe and attacked is a single blind step. So look back down the list and notice what actually connects it. Not size, not teeth, not which animal is technically deadliest. The thread running from the moose in the pines to the grizzly on the snowfield is the vanished warning, the second that should have existed and didn't. The signage was up. The trail was maintained. Other hikers were nearby. None of it changed what stepped out of the brush. What is known is that every one of these trails looked exactly as safe the moment before as it did on every ordinary day you would have walked it and felt nothing. That the line we cleared through the wild was only ever a line, and that somewhere on a trail you already have in mind. The easy one, the popular one, the one you don't think twice about. Something is standing just off the path in the tall grass or the dark water or the timber, watching you decide it isn't there,